Hello, I'm the Reverend Sarah Keane, curate in the Golden Cap team. Welcome to this week's midweek message. Now we've had all the excitement of Christmas, the New Year, and even Epiphany, it may seem that it's a long time before anything else exciting happens, both in terms of the weather and in terms of the church year. The next big festival is Candlemas, and that's not until the 2nd of February. So January may seem rather a quiet and rather bleak month. But actually, if you read Matthew's Gospel, chapter 2, and go beyond where the wise men have visited Bethlehem, you'll find that this period was anything but quiet for the Holy Family. Because just as the wise men were advised not to go anywhere near Herod on their way home, so an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream saying, pretty well, get out now. And how wise that advice was. Because Herod, realising that he'd been foxed by the wise men and didn't actually know where Jesus was, undertook an appalling slaughter of all the young children under 2 years old. And it's only that the angel's message and Joseph's quick thinking and taking his whole family into exile in Egypt that saved Jesus right at the beginning of his life. Now, of course, time goes on and we don't know quite how long it was that the family were in Egypt. But when they'd heard that Herod had died, it seemed like it might be safe to return. So Joseph decided to come back to the Palestine area. But again, heeding angelic warnings, he realised that with Archelaus in charge, Herod's son, down in Judea, they couldn't just go back to Bethlehem, because sooner or later Archelaus would do what his father had not managed to do and work out that Jesus was there. So they go to Nazareth up in Galilee, really quite a long way away from where Jesus was born. So twice in his very young life, Jesus is taken to very different lands. Life in day-to-day in Bethlehem and around in Judea would have been very familiar, at least to his parents. And yet, whilst probably still 2 or 3 years of age, he'd been dragged off first of all to Egypt and then up to Nazareth, a place that of course would have been very strange to him. So a lot going on there. And a lot of parallels with modern life. Because as we see in the war-torn parts of this world, there are an awful lot of refugees that are having to escape from their native lands under pain of death. And only by quick thinking do they get out in time. And so as we see them coming to this country and there's grumbling about migrants, just look back and think that, as with the Holy Family, what they may have been risking and what was the threat that they were under before they escaped. And it also brings me to mind One Life, the new Anthony Hopkins film about Nicholas Winton, the man who devised the kinder transplant. I've already heard from some of you how much you've enjoyed that movie and how moving you found it. Again, here, this was a way of trying to save young, innocent children from terrible oppression. So as we look and think, oh well, not much is happening in January, let's just take another look at Matthew's Gospel and think how much is contained there in the first few years of Jesus's life, and just how relevant it still all is for us today. And give thanks that most of us live much calmer, more untroubled lives. And whilst January may not be the most exciting month of the year, and it may be rather chilly and often rather wet, at the end of the day, we can all look forward to Candlemas without too much trauma in our lives. And then beyond that, to the first vestiges of spring. So let us all thank God that he is with us, and through Jesus, he supports us through the ups and downs, not just of the wintry weather, but in life in general. And thank goodness that we always have someone who is looking out for us to make sure that we escape as far as possible the dangers of this world. Amen and goodbye.